Welcome to this walk from the Colosseum to the Pantheon. We are in Rome virtually, and as you can see from this first picture, a reconstruction of how ancient center Rome looked like, probably, and the amazing Colosseum building you can see up to the right-hand side. When we talk about this ancient Roman time, and especially when we are going to visit and see these different buildings, we are going to consider a period of the history of Rome that is around the Roman Empire time. So we go, let's say, from the starting from 50 AD up to 300 AD. But the central time of the major buildings, such as, for example, the Colosseum, are around 1800 AD. So we are going to see building that date back 1,900 years ago, which is quite amazing. The extension of the Roman Empire at its highest, greatest extent at the time of the Emperor Trajan, 117 AD, you can see covered, let's say, all what we consider the Mediterranean area. And we are going to concentrate our attention at the capital city of the empire, that was the city of Rome, and today is the capital city of the state of Italy, that you can recognize with this typical shape into the Mediterranean Sea. Our walking tour is going to be on the path of what we normally do when we are not virtually but physically in Rome with our great local guides. We always have local guides in Rome, and this is the best things we can do because they can explain us such an interesting story of these places and go to details. And we start generally from the metro station Colosseo. So we come with a modern transportation, public transportation, such as the metro line to the Colosseo, then do a walk through the Roman Forum, and then reach the old city center of the medieval and Renaissance Rome, making our way to the Pantheon. Distance-wise, around 1 mile, but you can walk for days. There is so much to see. And we start with this iconic picture of this incredible building, which is called the Flavian Amphitheater, Amphitheatro Flaviano, or Colosseum, Colosseo in Italian. And this is, when you think about Italy, this is the picture you see also of all Italy. It represents Italy, so it's our iconic landmark, like you have the Liberty, Statue of Liberty, or the Eiffel Tower in Paris. But why it is called Colosseum? It's a nickname. If you see in this picture, the big giant statue made out of bronze to your left-hand side, this was a statue that was done for the Emperor Nero and was close to an artificial lake that was then drained and when the decision was taken then to build up the arena, the amphitheater that you see to your right-hand side. This statue of Nero was made out of bronze, and it was so big that it was like nicknamed the Colossus. And so when people gathered together in that area, when the arena was inaugurated in 80 or 81 AD, they would say, let's meet by the Colossus. So the Colosseum was the nickname. And you see, of course, this is a reconstruction, a virtual reconstruction of how this amphitheater looked like. Who wanted to have this amphitheater built? This was the dynasty of the Flavian emperors, started with Vespasian, and then his son Titus ended up the construction, and the inauguration happened with him, and his son Domitian then changed some parts of the arena. So that is why these three, the Flavian emperors, are considered to be the one that wanted this building. But where did they got the money from? The money came mainly from the victory against the rebellion of Judea, the first Roman-Jewish war that was won by Titus. And as you can see then here in a frieze and in a sculpture that is decorating one arch, triumphal arch of Titus in the Forum, then you have the symbol of the temple of Jerusalem, and everything was taken out of it. So the money came from that part, and manpower as well. The Roman, it was a military power, and it was a brutal military power. So it was based on military discipline and slavery. So prisoners of war were taken and used also for this incredible big construction that Rome was doing, not only in Rome proper, but everywhere around the empire. Not only manpower, but also machinery and technology was developed to do so. And you can see, for example, to your left-hand side, a crane, a prototype of a crane. These have been also reproduced now in modern time to check how effective they were. So they had all the tools, the knowledge and the technology to build. But why were these arena built? If you see this terracotta with the name on the with the sentence on the top of it in Latin, panem et circensum, means bread and circuses and games. And one poet of the time, Juvenal, said, "Give them bread and circuses, and they will never revolt." What does it mean? That what kind of games were organized in this arena, in this amphitheater? Mainly war games with gladiators that could be either slaves or free men, athletes trained, but it will be a fight for to life and death. And I found a definition of the gladiatorial contest in ancient Rome published by History Today. If you like it, you can, if you want to read it, it's a long article, you can go online and just check it. And if you see what it's written in this sentence, is practically the significance of what gladiator shows that were really war games, and they were done to keep also the atmosphere of violence and of strength and power in time also of peace. When we go into the Colosseum or in any other arena that are around Europe, some of them very well preserved, we do not have to forget that these were sites of murder, of death, not only of hundreds of gladiators, but mass execution were happening there, slaughter of domestic and wild animals. So this was mainly what the people were showed and what they enjoyed, but it was also a mean of control and power. And when we will go inside of the Colosseum, remember just this shot here where you see how the underground was, where all the animals were kept, where the gladiator would come up by different ramps or kind of elevator to be then there in this incredible big stage. And the people would be like here you see following for the whole day the games inside of this arena. There is something wrong here, and this is two ladies that you can see in the middle sitting there. It would not be possible. Women were confined on top levels, so they couldn't be there around with men. The spectators were divided by class and by gender, of course, so this was not the case. A typical day of games, sponsored always by the emperor, therefore for free. You had your ticket and you would go in the morning, and they would start with a parade, then animal fights, then mainly then in the morning gladiator against animal, then lunch break, maybe some execution of criminals, and then the highlights would be the fight to life and death with gladiators against gladiators. There has been proof that at least in some arena, and it seems also in one was the case for the Colosseum itself, water battle called Neumachia took place as well when the stage, let's say, was flooded. So these are incredible things about this building. Look at this map and you see how many theater and amphitheater were around the Roman Empire. So the Romans, they conquered, moved around all this area around the Mediterranean, and they took also the theaters and amphitheater tradition with them. We now start our walking tour by going out of the metro station Colosseum, and we approach the pedestrian area that has been created around it. Only public transportation can go there, or as you see, some carriages, bicycles. And we go towards one of the entrances. As you see, all these arches, 76 of them were designated to entrance with a number on it that you will find also on your ticket. That would be maybe a terracotta ticket, and you will just go inside and know exactly at what entrance that you go into. We now enter one of them, and we have to go through security nowadays. It's like at the airport, and here we are. This is the first row of arches, and we are going to go in from where we would have never been able to go as Roman citizens or guests of the games. This is the entrance reserved to the emperor. So only the emperor, the vestals, the senators will go inside and then go to their assigned seats very close to what we can call it the stage. Look at the height of this building, the Roman arch, already an architecture masterpiece that gave the possibility to develop such big, incredible made buildings for big gathering of groups. We talk about 80,000 seats, an average of 65,000, and you can see divided in different rows, 3 main rows where people would be seated. This is the skeleton. We see the skeleton nowadays. Many parts of this building have been taken out, recycled for other buildings, started from the Roman time all the way then through the Middle Ages and the Renaissance time. We have a different feeling about archaeology nowadays to preserve, but this was an open air quarry. And if you have a look now, we are going to see the basement. So the underground part with all these tunnels, and this is where the cages of the animals were, the gladiators were, and they would be brought up then to perform life and death performance for the public in this area. What I can show you before we are going to go then upstairs to the second floor by using very steep steps, but I have found a short video that shows us the interior and the exterior of the Colosseum, how it would have been. So a virtual reconstruction of it. And here we go. You see in the arches outside there would be statues. Then to the right-hand side you see the red baldachin of the emperor. If the ground would be covered, then you see it, then there will be covered with 5 inches of sand. So that would be, of course, a base, and then 5 inches of sand. And that is the reason why we call it arena. Arenas in Latin means sand. Easy to clean up after this massacre that happened then there on a regular base. You see the structure then going up with then all, of course, had seats, marble, and then 3 stories. And at the top, if you see these lines of pillars at the top of the Colosseum, these were pillars that were, you can see up at the middle of the picture now, where you have these white travertine bricks, so that is a material. There would be a canopy, like a velarium, called velarium, was a cover of sails that were moved by sailors of the imperial fleet, and to make shades for the games, the spectators, and so already incredible things were done here inside. This gentleman is looking at the walls and look at all the different kind of bricks. This building is mainly built out of bricks. Travertine that you see is this big stone that was carrying the major weight. The Romans invented concrete, so we will see then a building made out of concrete at the end of this walking tour. But if we look from the outside now, the back sides of the Colosseum, we see the area that we are going to discover next. The Arch of Constantine. Constantine was the emperor that brought Christianity into the empire, 315, 317 AD. And the area that is opening up in front of us is what we call then the Roman Forum. We are going to walk there. And you see also to the right-hand side, the metro construction. Rome wants to enlarge the metro lines, which is very difficult because as soon as you dig, you find a lot of things. So that's the major problem of Rome. Sometimes you dig, you find a statue, and then you think, what should I do with it? Should I cover it up? Should I sell it? And you have to, of course, to inform all the organs of control of the patrimony, historical patrimony. So it's very difficult to build alternatives underground way in Rome. We are going now to make our way to the Roman Forum. What was the Roman Forum? The Roman Forum, as you can see here, a map, it's a group, let's say in this case in Rome was a valley that between the Colosseum and then the area of the Palatine Hill by the Colosseum and the Capitol Hill. And it was used for different purposes. It was a place for business, for gathering, for political rallies, for speeches, for religious parade, for military parade. The Curia that I pointed out there was the site where the Senate would meet. The Via Sacra would be the holy road that would be used for parade or to go from one temple to the next one. An important temple that, of course, there are just now the remains, but there was in this area was a temple dedicated to Julius Caesar that was divinized. So he became a god already at this time. And there is an interesting arch that can explain us how this place looked like when the Empire of Rome dissolved and the city was not that important anymore. By the excavation of this forum, many statues have been found, and interesting-wise, we know that the statues were painted. What we admire nowadays as beautiful marble statues, there are marble statues for us now in marble because they lost the pigmentation of the color, but the Roman painted their statues as well as they painted all the buildings with stucco, and so they were heavily really decorated. Now, just a jump to explain you what I will show you next when we do the walk inside of the forum. If you look at this arch, that is the arch, one of the arches, triumphal arches inside of the forum, I put a red arrow to point out like where the dirt and the soil was covering the arch. And if I show you now a picture to the right-hand side of the arch after the digging of the excavation was done, then you see it with this red line, how much of the, what big part of this arch was underground. So 2,000 years of debris of sediments from the floods of the river Tiber created this kind of landscape in this valley that you can see now. But we start from the back. We have the Colosseum in our back. So we walk towards the entrance of the beginning of the Via Sacra. And the first triumphal arch that we see is the one of Titus. Titus is the one under which, let's say, the Colosseum was inaugurated, and it was the one that brought a lot of money back from the siege of Jerusalem. And in this arch, you see left and right the parade with the prisoners of war from Jerusalem, with all the items that they took out from the holy Jewish temple. Now we face the entrance of this valley. We go downhill, so you already feel, okay, we go downhill. That means that the level is just going to a flat area in a plain, and we walk on an original Roman road, Via Sacra. The network of the Roman roads is incredible still nowadays. They had to serve all the empire. So they had to be everywhere. And if you look to the left-hand side where you have these cypress trees at the top, that is the Palatine Hill. The Palatinum is where you had the villas of emperors. But we now just take a short detour to see a building that is one of the newest of this area of the Forum. Is a Basilica di Massenzio, 312 AD. Basilica, we know it, we use it this term now for churches, but this was the first place that was a court house and a meeting, gathering place, and it became then a place also when Christianity was introduced to the Roman Empire, where people, a Christian, could then meet legally after being persecuted for so many years. To just explain you what I was saying before about how much was digged out to bring these buildings to light, if you look at this temple from the outside, and inside it's a church, and you look at the green door, the entrance door, that is where, when the church was built in the 1600s, the soil level of the city of Rome was. So from that part, you see these incredible big columns, they would be already underground a little bit. So when they built the church, they built it up there. They tried to pull down these incredible big granite columns. You see there are some marks on the top, but they were not successful. And then you walk, you keep on walking, you can stay for days inside of this forum with a local guide explaining you every stone, every piece of monument, everything. But we just take a stroll now, and you see it's hot, so it's uneven walkway, so you have to have good shoes, your water with you, and sunscreen normally. But now we just take a left, and we go just shortly to see the remains of the temple dedicated to Julius Caesar, and this is a place where he was cremated after he was assassinated. So this is an historical place, and of course there is not that much left. There are a couple of stones, you might say, but these stones tell an history of an empire. And in front of us now, we could walk forever, but I just want to show you the building, or to explain you the building you see to your right-hand side. This is the Senate House, so an important building. And now a little reconstruction of the Forum. And by walking up towards the Palatine Hill, you can see the remains of the aqueduct, Aqua Claudia, one of the aqueducts that also maybe brought water to the artificial lake of Nero before, and to the Colosseum for the naval battles. On the Palatine Hill, remains of beautiful, gigantic buildings, mainly villas of emperors, so residential area for the who is who of the Roman Empire. But this was also the hill where Rome was founded originally, from the Palatine Hill. We go, and this is the look of the Massenzio, Basilica di Massenzio, and this is how it would have looked like. And if you look now at the reconstruction of the Colosseum, you see also the Colossus that was sticking out there. Look here at this parade walkways with the Via Sacra, temples, the Vestal temples, arches, places of gathering. Originally, the Forum was a market in the Roman Republic time, and then it evolved into a social gathering place, and then a political place. So it was the center of the life in ancient Rome. And the Forum is something that we know from different areas. And nowadays, if we all go online, and we also all get in a forum to chat together, we use this Roman name, the Forum. Now we leave the Forum and we go and walk towards this incredible building, perfectly preserved, the Pantheon. The Pantheon, and now I want to take you on a stroll on the way to the Pantheon. This is a different kind of Rome, a pedestrian area, beautiful area where to spend your time walking around, going for wonderful food, souvenirs, getting your beautiful little items as a souvenir of your stay in Rome, or just go for a cafe, like to the right-hand side, Tazza d'Oro. Tazza d'Oro, you can read it, this corner shop, one of the best cafe in this area of the Pantheon. We approach now this square. This was an area called the Field of Mars. for military and religious parades, and so outside of the Forum and Colosseum area. And this is what we see. We see this building that is till nowadays the best preserved Roman monument and building, an example of incredible skill of architecture. And Pantheon, the temple to the all gods, survived the fall of the Roman Empire because it was turned already into a church in the 7th century. And we go in, look at this portico with these incredible columns, all granite from Egypt. So imagine also the skills of transportation, the organization of having everything moved and brought by a water and then pulled up. But we saw they had cranes and the way to build. And we make our way inside. And when we go inside, that is where it's a wow moment. It's a jaw-dropping moment because you see, and you cannot actually believe it. At first, outside, it looks like a temple, a church. You don't really know. But once you go inside, you realize it's a dome. And this dome is perfect. And it's made out of concrete. And it was never redone. So it is original, is the, as it's written here, is the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the world. And in the center of this dome, when we look up, there is the famous oculus, the eye. The eye is 27 feet in diameter, and it's open. So it rains inside of this building, but there is a drainage system underneath. And you see this particular structure of the dome that was done to make it lighter by using then a system of working with scaffoldings and then wood forms where they would put the concrete and then make it in these kind of square forms, everything decorated. And a lot of this wonderful marble is still inside because this was turned into a church and then became an important building also for Italy. We have the Tomb of Raphael inside. We have the tomb of some of the royals of the royal family of Italy. Nevertheless, this building was not spared for as a quarry again, because already the Romans, but then especially in the time of the Pope, a lot of materials was taken out of it to be reused for other purposes. So many things disappeared and are not there, but still the building stood and survived. And here I just have at the end an example of when we talk about concrete, how Roman concrete was done by using materials, especially of volcanic origin from the Phlegian area close by Vesuvio, so by Naples, and the concrete was a material, so limestone, ashes, bricks mixed together and made it possible to build such a building as the Pantheon, that were heavier in the fundament and lighter than in the top. The Pantheon also has multiple function. One could have been to be a gigantic sundial, for example, with the winter solstice and the summer solstice, with the light of the sun coming directly from the oculus and lightening also the entrance, the main entrance. And incredibly wise, it's a perfect sphere in the inside with 142 feet of diameter. Many materials has been taken out. Thanks God didn't jeopardize the stability of the building. For example, a lot of bronze. Here you have an example of rudimental cannons that were used to defend the Pope, because the Pope was a state and it was a military power as well. And it is said that part of the bronze taken from the Pantheon was used also maybe for the baldachin of the main altar inside of St. Peter Basilica. But when you walk around Rome, you can see a lot of pieces that have been used and integrated into normal building or churches that were taken away from Roman temples' ruins and has been turned into for other purposes as an architectural support in new building. So when you go around Rome, enjoy also the view outside while you walk around. And when you are exhausted, stop for a cafe or a cappuccino. Here again, the suggestion either in the Tazza d'Oro by the Pantheon or a gelato. Or if you are really hungry, because maybe it's lunchtime, just go for a pizza romana that is sold by the piece and by weight, not by the slice, very crispy and thin. And just drink something nice and then enjoy the rest of the day once you keep on going and discover Roma. So arrivederci, a presto a Roma. Hope to see you there as soon as possible.